His foot wasn't swollen and it wasn't bruised, but she says it's not broken, so we'll go with it. So I have a little homeopathy story time today. This was about 11 years ago when I first started using homeopathic remedies before I became a practitioner myself. I brought my son to the doctor after his foot had broken. Now, I didn't know it was broken at the time. What happened is my two boys were running through the house. They were very little. The older one stepped on the younger one's foot, but the younger one kept going. So his foot got, held down to the ground and it broke. And he immediately started screaming. He couldn't walk. I picked him up, said, there, it's okay. Did the normal thing. Didn't really think much of it. But then over the next 10 minutes, he just kept screaming. And I'm like, oh, that's, normally kids move past this and move on by now. Well, I gave him Arnica, which looks like this. And I don't remember which potency I gave him, possibly the 30C. I feel like it was the 30C, but also, for a severe injury, you'd probably want to go straight to 200C. All right. Within, a couple minutes, he stopped crying and he was happy and he was ready to go play again. And I thought, oh, great. This is great. Everything's fine. It's probably not broken. It's probably not sprained, but he still couldn't walk. So after maybe a day of this, I thought, what if it is broken? I brought him to the pediatrician. She took a look at his foot and she said, his foot's not broken. He's probably faking it. And I'm thinking to myself, what 3-year-old fakes not walking for 2 whole days? Like, they can't keep that charade up. He would have walked at one point, forgetting about the charade, especially first thing in the morning when he wakes up. Oh, I forgot I was doing the charade that I can't walk. It was just bizarre. And her rationale behind it was that his foot wasn't swollen and it wasn't bruised, which it wasn't. His foot looked completely normal. She said if it were broken, there would be bruising, there would be swelling, because of course the outer portion of the foot would also be traumatized, not just the broken bone. And I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll go with, I know he's not faking it, but she says it's not broken, so we'll go with it. So I left the doctor's office. 4 days later, he still wasn't walking. And I'm like, something's not right. So I brought him to, I think we went straight to an orthopedic doctor. He did an x-ray and the foot was broken. But the reason I tell this story is because first, I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of funny. I think it speaks to the power of homeopathic remedies. It can be more powerful than you even expect sometimes. And also, I'm telling this story because when you start using homeopathic remedies, they sort of defy common, current knowledge of how things should go with sickness and injuries. They sort of throw a fastball in there that you're not expecting. And you're like, so the people around you will be confused. They may misdiagnose. They may say things like, oh, your symptoms are gone, so you never really had that illness anyway. Oh, it must have been all in your mind. So, or, oh, you're faking it, or your son is faking it. It can kind of make things a little bit weird, to the point where I don't necessarily mention to regular doctors anymore that I use homeopathic remedies, because they look at you like something's not right. And they tend to want to put it on you, not on oh, you gave that remedy and the foot stopped hurting and there's no swelling and bruising. Maybe I should look at that. No, they don't do that. They come up with an explanation in their mind that makes sense to them. And that can be very uncomfortable for you. So be prepared for that. I will say, since we're just on the topic of Arnica, this is very widely used in plastic surgery. You almost cannot find a plastic surgeon who doesn't use Arnica, or even the aesthetic places that inject your face and stuff like that. They use Arnica. They hand it to you. Now, they usually give you a potency that's a little bit too low, at least in my opinion. It's going to help, but it's not going to create the miracles of you walking back in the office and saying, how did you heal that fast? Now, when I've had surgery done before, I think I used a 10M, which is even more powerful than this 200C. Now, 200C you can get on Amazon, but I don't think you can buy it over the counter in America. I ordered 200C, 1M, and 10M, which are 3 higher potencies from England. I used the 10M after surgery and barely needed any even ibuprofen or anything. Another community where Arnica is often used is the running community. And I just don't quite understand why people fully embrace this. A lot of the runners will use the cream. They really should be using the oral as well. But what I don't understand is why certain communities have fully embraced the power of Arnica and they use it on a routine basis, but other communities have not, such as like orthopedics. Like, if your foot breaks, give them Arnica. It works. All right, that's it for me. If you're interested in finding out more about me and what I'm about, go to stephanienewton.homeopathy.com or subscribe, and I will see you later.